After a proposal from the Badminton Association of Malaysia last year to test out fixed height serving, to which the BWF membership agreed, the BWF started trialling from the 1st of March 2018. The experimental service law mandates that the whole of the shuttle shall be below 1.15 metres from the surface of the court at the instant of being hit by the server's racket. Testing started at the Yonex German Open, followed by the Yonex All England Open 2018. BWF Secretary-General Thomas Lund explains the reason behind implementing the experimental service law.
I think there's two really main considerations here. One is definitely for the players. The other one, I would say, for our technical officials, to make both of these two really important groups make their lives easier. I mean, the background for this has been that we, over quite a number of years, have had both player feedback, service judge feedback with our umpires, that it can be quite difficult to judge based on the rules we had before. So we tried to actually simplify the rules with the clear intent to make it more consistent, whether it's a fault or not, make it easier to judge, and thereby also make it more fair for players, that actually what needs to be judged as a fault is faulted, and what doesn't need to be, I mean, it's more clear, so they don't have to risk that, oh, we don't know when we are faulted and so on. So with the rules we've implemented has clearly been to try and mitigate that. They know now what the clear rules are, and there's a fixed service height that need to adhere to, which also makes the lives easier for the service judges to have a more clear line on what is a fault and what is not a fault.
The Badminton World Federation is optimistic that the ongoing testing of the experimental service law is the first step to making service judging simpler and more objective.
I clearly understand what the very tall players are saying here, and that's obviously, it may be that this is a bigger adjustment they need to make to their serve because of this new rule. On the other hand, it can be said that over many years we've said, no, it's fair that the rule changes. Whether you're tall, you actually get an advantage to be able to serve higher. When you're not so tall, you have to serve lower because your lowest rib will change according to your height. We don't change the height of the net, and actually being not so tall, it can make it quite a bit more difficult to serve. So you could argue over many years it has been a disadvantage for the smaller players, and I don't think that's necessarily fair. So I think it's quite interesting. There's been so much social media hype around whether the tallest players have an advantage or should have an advantage, but you could also say, why should the smaller players have a disadvantage? So I think we found something here that is in our minds quite fair for everyone, and we really hope it will make everything more consistent, because that's really what I think makes it better for the players.
After trialling the fixed height service experiment at 2 events so far, the BWF has received positive and informative initial feedback from technical officials. As of now, testing is expected to run until the year end.